Tonight, South Australia's summer soaking, events cancelled and Christmas shopping washed out as the city cops a month's worth of rain in a day. And the worst is yet to come for the state's west coast, in line for another walloping. A real-life Christmas Grinch on northern suburbs' festive stealing spree. The end of 3G, a warning to elderly South Aussies as the network is wound down. Tributes for Hollywood heartthrob Ryan O'Neill, who's died aged 82. And our South Aussie Test stars jet off to start the summer of cricket.
Live from Adelaide, 7 News with Elspeth Hussey.
Good evening. Summer rain records are set to tumble amid warnings the worst is yet to come as SA is lash with an unseasonable soaking. The city received a month's worth of rain in just 24 hours, with Christmas events cancelled and festive shopping washed out.
This was a showstopper soaking. Torrential and relentless, umbrellas became early Christmas presents on one of the busiest weekends leading up to the big day. For those without, a hood would have to do. As Adelaide copped consistent falls, Hutt Road closed, floodwaters diverted into the parklands. Who would have thought we're in the second week of summer?
It's been pretty cold. I was getting really wet.
The conditions heighten the danger on our roads. The Northern Expressway speed limit slashed. No escape for these drivers on a wet and greasy Port Road. And traffic was reduced to a crawl in Whyalla for emus soaking it up. On higher ground, picture opportunities are plenty on a day where the deluge never let up.
It's actually quite pleasant. It's not cold and it's just lovely along the river and the foreshore.
Although not as much rain has fallen as initially forecast, it's still been enough to keep Adelaide well and truly soaked all day. And enough to wash out even more events like community Christmas carols, including those at Kingswood Oval, which would have drawn thousands of people tonight.
Months of planning and so many people have been affected. Really disappointing, but as you can see, the right call.
Driving rain all day. Tom Johnson, 7 News.
And Hayden Nelson's on the Eyre Peninsula tonight. Hayden, the worst is yet to come there.
It is, Elle. Those flood watches remain in place around the region. That's because this rain isn't going anywhere, at least for the next 24 hours. The peninsula didn't cop as much as predicted today, but locals aren't out of the woods yet. In fact, this system will intensify and will be intense at time tomorrow. Predictions are for around 70 millimetres, but some areas could see up to 100 millimetres, with isolated falls of up to 150 millimetres. Severe weather warnings are in place for the Eyre Peninsula, parts of the lower Eyre Peninsula and all the way north to Coober Pedy. But today it was Wallaroo and Kadina in the firing line. The system causing significant roof damage to the local Aldi store and meaning that there were widespread grocery losses. On the other side of the coin, some farmers are loving the rain and it's a rare sign for the kids to enjoy.
Oh, they're loving it. Right by our doorstep. Tomorrow it'll be bigger. Tomorrow it should be pretty flat here, I reckon. Yeah.
Bit of a surprise this time of year?
Massively. It's perfect. We love it. We love the rain. If we can get around the 100 mil, happy days. If we get over that, it could come down too quick and do a bit of damage.
The residents say locals in Woodina, Woomera, Coober Pedy, Whyalla and here in Cleve should brace for the worst of the conditions tomorrow morning. They should prepare for flash flooding and are being told to never drive through floodwaters. Elle.
OK, thank you, Hayden. Live now to Gertie Sperling. Gertie, closer to home, of floodwaters also in place in the Mount Lofty ranges.
The Adelaide Hills and the city are bracing for more steady rain tomorrow in the morning and in the afternoon. So as our creeks and catchments continue to rise, it is possible that we'll see some minor flooding. Now, over the past 24 hours, the city's had more than a month's worth of rain. 24 millimetres has fallen since 9 a.m. alone. Parts of the hills have seen falls of up to 30 millimetres, the Eyre Peninsula 40. And as we just heard, it is the EP that'll cop an absolute drenching tomorrow with a severe weather warning in place for the region and parts of the West Coast and Northwest Pastoral District too. Now, despite the rain, the Carols by Candlelight event is pushing ahead. Families have arrived with ponchos and brollies, ready for a night of festive cheer no matter the weather. They're enjoying the pre-show entertainment now, but last night there was a full dress rehearsal. 7 News was given exclusive access to it, so this is just a taste of what's to come tonight. Among the star-studded list of performers, Paul Leaney, Hugh Sheridan and Paul Kelly. The showers have eased, but you'll still need your raincoat if you're heading here later this evening. I'll be back with a 7-day forecast later this hour, Elle.
OK, thank you, Gertie. There's been a dramatic 4-hour siege at Hectorville. Police say a man was making threats from inside his Hectorville Road unit and had refused to come out. Specialist officers ended up smashing their way through the front door and eventually pulled him out. He's been detained and taken to hospital. A truckie has had a lucky escape after his rig slammed into a tree on the Dukes Highway near Bordertown. A huge branch speared the windscreen, narrowly missing the driver. The 62-year-old was taken to hospital with minor injuries. Heartless thieves have been caught on camera stealing Christmas lights and decorations in Adelaide's northern suburbs. The callous crime during the festive season has sparked outrage from local residents.
It's not the first time they've struck. At this time of year, thieves take advantage of easy targets. This man was captured on CCTV stealing Christmas lights wrapped around a tree in a front yard.
Stupid. They're idiots and no lives. I'm putting that nicely.
One victim said on social media, "Our decorative lights are stolen. Be aware thugs are now targeting Christmas decorations." Another witness said, "We caught them in the act. They had a shopping trolley full of stolen lights and decorations."
That is horrible. Like, some people work hard for their money, and for people just to take them, it's absolutely disgusting.
Many residents spend a lot of time and money decking out their homes with Christmas decorations. It's beyond belief anyone would steal their goodwill.
If people are going to steal Christmas lights, they're definitely a Grinch. At the end of the day, you're taking the spirit away from someone else, and it's a very low act.
Between me working away, I've managed to put mine up, you know, and if someone come and took mine, I'd be fuming. You just stolen $12 worth of lights, so what are you going to do? Dress up your own house?
Stop doing it. It's not fair on the community, the residents, and all the, they spend hundreds on lights, and to be stolen, it's not fair.
Anyone who spots the Christmas thieves should contact police. Peter Caldecott, 7 News.
A driver's led police on a wild chase across the northern suburbs. Pol Air tracked the Holden to Burton, where the driver dumped the car and ran off. A 25-year-old Salisbury Plains man was arrested nearby. His vehicle was impounded and then towed from the scene. First home buyers may consider houses in Adelaide's northern suburbs as more affordable, but a new report reveals that's where the highest price growth year on year is happening. According to PropTrack, the value of homes in Elizabeth North has shot up 30% in the past 12 months. It's followed closely by Elizabeth Downs and then Davern Park. The federal government has announced major plans to scale back migration, including a crackdown on immigration rorts and exploitation. It comes as new data reveals record population growth, increasing by more than 500,000 people this year.
Since World War II, Australia has welcomed millions of migrants.
Without immigration, the future of the Australia we know will be both uneasy and brief.
But today, the Prime Minister acknowledged a dark side of migration.
In some cases, the system is being abused. We have a plan to fix migration, putting an end to any abuse and any rorts.
This year, there was record growth, the population exploding by more than 500,000 people, the majority from overseas.
The horse has already bolted on immigration, and the Prime Minister not only can't catch it, he can't find it.
Causing problems with housing and infrastructure.
Very tight rental market, surging rents, and of course we've now got record home prices in Australia.
The Prime Minister pointing out that international students can exploit the education system just to get into the country.
students who come in and they're not studying at all. People can say one thing and then do another, not actually attending university, and it's just working the whole time. And I think that's the kind of students that they're concerned about.
The latest data shows if the government doesn't act now, 46 million people could call Australia home by 2071, the population growing by 77%.
Bottom line is we need to get those immigration numbers back to the averages we saw prior to the pandemic, which is around 240,000 people per annum, and ideally a little bit less than that.
The Prime Minister wouldn't say what his migration target is, but promised to release the details of the government's new strategy on Monday. Tougher laws for temporary visa holders are expected.
And I think if both major political parties commit to targeting net migration over the long term, that will be a good thing for everybody. Leave aside the politics.
Isabel Mullen, 7 News.
2 men stand accused of orchestrating the largest illegal steroid syndicate in Victoria's history. Police arrested 6 people in coordinated cross-border raids and vow more charges will follow.
A steroid syndicate spanning 3 states comes unstuck. Police swooping in on the alleged Melbourne masterminds, arresting 32-year-olds Nathan Williamson and Daniel Tennis. The men are accused of buying steroids and prescription drugs from an overseas supplier and selling them on the dark web, through the post, and at several large-scale distribution centres, including a popular Melbourne gym.
These steroids have been used beyond just the gym environment, and that's what grabbed our attention.
It's the largest seizure of its type, and police say it's lining the pockets of organised crime figures. 2 men in Canberra and 1 in New South Wales have also been charged as part of the 7-month-long investigation.
A house was restrained, 5 motor vehicles were seized, 3 motorcycles, hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, and significant quantities of prescription and controlled drugs.
It will take investigators a number of days to count and weigh the drugs and cash, estimated to be in the millions of dollars. Sarah Jones, 7 News.
A 6th detainee released from immigration detention under a High Court ruling has been arrested. He was found to have breached his curfew conditions in Melbourne's inner west overnight. The 36-year-old African man was arrested by federal police and faced court today. If convicted, he could face 5 years in prison and a $93,000 fine. The United States has vetoed fresh efforts at the United Nations in a call for a humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza. The UN chief pleaded for the measure, describing the situation on the ground as catastrophic, amid claims civilians are being treated like human pinballs.
Emerging from another wrecked home, these are the survivors of the latest Israeli strike on southern Gaza. Their lives turned upside down. Those killed, recovered, adding to an escalating death toll. This house was full of children, and the house next door, my uncle's, was also full of children, this man says. The hospital in what was meant to be a safe area, now at the heart of the danger zone. There is nowhere else to be treated but the floor. Even with its military presence on the ground in Gaza, with thousands of troops, Israel's aerial bombardment hasn't slowed.
Attacks from air, land and sea are intense, continuous and widespread.
At the UN Security Council in New York, the Secretary General warned of humanitarian support systems collapsing, followed by a breakdown of public order.
I fear the consequences could be devastating for the security of the entire region.
As the US led the veto of calls for a humanitarian ceasefire.
We still cannot comprehend why the resolution's authors declined to include language condemning Hamas's horrific terrorist attack on Israel on October 7, an attack that killed over 1,200 people.
In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
A man attacked by a shark off a popular Queensland tourist spot is recovering from surgery after almost losing his foot. He's the second shark bite victim in just over a week, and experts say wet weather has made the animals more active.
Speeding through Bundaberg,
Inside the ambulance, a 20-year-old man savaged by a shark off Queensland's coast. Just after 4:30 yesterday afternoon, the swimmer was bitten in waters off 1770.
He had a quite significant ankle injury which almost resulted in an amputation of his foot. Probably one of the most serious marine bite injuries I've seen.
Taken to Bundaberg Hospital, the swimmer was then airlifted to the Royal Brisbane yesterday evening.
He was stable and being operated on last night.
Drone video posted on social media of 1770 late last month captured schools of sharks swimming close to shore.
There's a lot of different sort of sharks around the moment. People are seeing bull sharks and tiger sharks around.
And so when there's a lot of rainfall on land, it can push the water and all the food out through mouths of the rivers. And bull sharks in particular like to feed around those areas.
The young swimmer is the second shark attack victim in just over a week. 21-year-old Matthew David was bitten on the arm diving off Clack Island last Thursday.
I thought I was going to lose my arm.
Avoid swimming at dusk and dawn. Also avoid swimming near river mouths after heavy rainfall, and avoid swimming near large bait balls of fish.
A warning to take care off the coast. Jordan Bissell, 7 News. Hollywood heartthrob Ryan O'Neal, who was nominated for an Oscar for his role in Love Story, has died at the age of 82. Synonymous with romantic leads in the 70s and 80s, he also made headlines over his real-life dramas and relationships.
What would you say if I told you I think I'm in love with you?
Set a stage in this Hollywood love story.
Who said anything about marriage?
I'm saying it now.
Ryan O'Neal, America's golden-haired heartthrob, catapulted from TV soap opera to Oscar-nominated silver screen stardom.
What's up, Doc?
I beg your pardon.
We've got to stop meeting like this.
I think you're making a mistake. You see, I just came in here for something for a headache.
Opposite Barbara Streisand in the 1970s What's Up, Doc, he was Love's leading man on and off the screen, including a 30-year relationship with Charlie's Angel, Farrah Fawcett. The fame, awards and recognition far from the world of professional boxing, where he cut his teeth.
Who would have thought I would end up with a star on the Walk of Fame? I thought I'd end up in jail, and look where I am.
A powerful performance with his then 9-year-old daughter, Tatum, in Paper Moon.
I want my $200.
O'Neal's career steamrolled through the 2000s.
I need your weapon, and I need your badge.
He was diagnosed with leukemia in 2001 and with prostate cancer in 2012. His son today confirming his death. As a human being, my father was as generous as they come, the funniest person in any room.
Jenny, I'm sorry.
Ryan O'Neal was 82. In the United States, David Woywood, 7 News.
Let's check in with Bruce now. What's coming up in sport, Abba?
Well, weather outside, you wouldn't think the summer of cricket is about to start, but it is upon us. Later on, we'll catch up with South Aussie Test stars Travis Head and Alex Carey, who weigh in on the day of water drama ahead of the first test on Thursday. And Nick Kyrgios pulls out of next month's Aussie Open, announcing it in true Nick Kyrgios style on his new OnlyFans account. Where else, of course? All that and plenty more coming up.
You've got one of those, don't you, Abba?
Oh, of course.
I'm sure everyone does. We'll check in again soon, thank you. Well, there's a warning tonight to those who rely on the 3G network. It's about to be wound down, so we'll explain what to do if you're one of the many South Aussies still using it. That's after the break. Also, mourners line the street of Dublin to farewell Irish singer Shane MacGowan. Up for sale, we take a look inside the notorious Candyman's Gold Coast mansion. And later this hour, a slice of slot car history, Adelaide's ultimate man cave up for grabs. From Friday, the 3G network will start to be switched off, prompting a warning to mobile customers who still rely on it. There's particular concern for South Australia's elderly who use 3G to connect their personal alert systems.
At 92, David Horgan knows he could have a fall at any time.
You just cannot stop yourself sometimes tripping over nothing.
His personal alert system gives him the peace of mind needed to live alone.
Are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. Once the family leaves the house at night, you're on your own, and you can't get to the phone.
Many older devices run on the 3G network, which is about to shut down for good, starting with Vodafone on Friday, then Telstra and Optus next year.
They've only got a limited amount of spectrum, and so they want to reuse that so they can roll out more faster services.
So devices that aren't 4G compatible won't work.
So potentially you've got someone that's left laying on the floor and nobody knows about it.
Worryingly, some devices are already affected by the gradual shutdown and customers might not even know it.
We were getting people calling us saying, hey, my light's turned off, what's happened?
There are also fears some customers may have ignored warnings from telcos thinking it's a scam.
If you're not sure that the message your service provider is reaching out to you with is authentic, don't click a link. Look up on their website, in the yellow pages, give them a call, have a chat.
The good news is if you're eligible under the NDIS or My Aged Care, you might get your replacement for free.
Actually issued upgrades for over 3,000 people already. We've got about another 1,000 people in the pipeline, and then others who've contacted us who are going through the My Aged Care process.
Ashley Kanowski, 7 News.
4 teenagers have been injured in a bus crash in Western Sydney. The bus collided with a white SUV just after 9 last night. Police say the car was attempting to do a U-turn and didn't see the bus coming. Witnesses on board claim it was the bus driver's fault.
The bus was speeding and a car came out. We T-boned it.
So far, no one has been charged. Musical trailblazer Shane MacGowan has been laid to rest in Ireland. Thousands lined the street of Dublin to pay tribute to the lead singer of the Pogues as a horse-drawn carriage carried his casket through the streets.
Dirty old town, dirty old town.
His funeral was held in County Tipperary. The Irish president and friends, including Johnny Depp and Nick Cave, were among the mourners. The singer, who combined punk with Irish folk music, passed away last week at the age of 65. The playboy known as the Candyman is known for throwing lavish parties at his mega mansion on the Gold Coast. Now, after 20 years, he's put that mansion on the market and it's expected to fetch an eye-watering price.
It's a place where the wild is welcome. The infamous Candy Shop Mansion, home to Gold Coast playboy Travis Bainon. Over the years, he built a tobacco empire, but gained notoriety for his love of lavish, loose parties. Now the 51-year-old is on to his next chapter.
Travis and his wife Tasha are expecting a baby boy in 2024. They thought this was the perfect opportunity to take a new direction in life.
After 20 years putting the mega mansion on the market.
A lot of one-off features that you'll see in this property that you will never find anywhere else.
Starting with a collection of Italian statues littered through a Tuscan-inspired courtyard. Inside, there's 14 bedrooms, 13 bathrooms, a gym, dining hall, cinema, space for 16 cars, not to mention the extravagant artwork.
And of course, out the back, you've got the famous 250,000 litre infinity pool.
To give you an idea of the price, 2 other properties of similar size and calibre have sold for around $25 million. The home was only put on the market yesterday. There's already been interest from 3 serious buyers.
Arguably one of the finest, most luxurious, most extravagant homes, not just on the Gold Coast, but in the whole of Australia.
Expensive taste, the Candyman hopes will make a sweet sale. Jordan Quinn, 7 News.
Well, still on Man Caves, we've got another one for you here in SA, albeit a little bit smaller. After the break, a rare opportunity to buy a piece of Adelaide slot car history. That's coming up next. Also, residents brace for a tropical cyclone off the Queensland coast. A fuel tanker driver somehow survives a fiery explosion in Florida. And later, the secretive and shocking world of cults and why they're on the rise. They were some of the hottest toys of the 60s, and now the state's largest slot car collection could be yours. Tonight on Selling SA, we take a look inside the ultimate car lover's man cave, going under the hammer in Ridgehaven.
3, 1,
Go!
It's the ultimate race down memory lane.
Became seriously popular probably in the mid-60s, right the way through the 60s. We used to wag school and go down there and tinker with the cars. Rather than schoolwork, we used to go slot car racing.
Clive Spreadberry's passion for slot cars has taken him all over the world racing. Even at 72, his need for speed never gets old.
Every Friday night we have a range of racers that come in, and they come in with their slot car boxes full of cars and hand controllers, and they get really into it.
Clive's Scalex World Raceway in Ridgehaven has been the place for these hobbyists to meet since the late 90s. But now he's decided it's time for a new chapter. His 3-bed, 1-bath house and workshop is going under the hammer next week with a price guide in the high 7s to low 8s.
This is an amazing man cave. Lady cave, whatever you like to say in this day and age, but either way, an amazing property for your collection. Live and work in around your toys would be everyone's dream.
So if you like your racing, Clive's entire collection is up for sale too. Whoever buys the property gets first dibs, if the price is right.
So that the fellas here still have somewhere to race. I'm already getting people coming in here saying, oh, I used to race here when I was 10 years of age. A lot of people are reminiscing over the past.
Better make tracks. Jasmine Turlings, 7 News.
A routine medal presentation at the Kremlin has become the moment Vladimir Putin revealed he will run again for president. A soldier asked the 71-year-old if he would stand in the presidential election in March. After pausing as if to consider his response, he said he would run. If he wins, and really there is no doubt he will, he'll be in power until at least 2030. Cyclone Jasper, a severe system off the North Queensland coast, is weakening, but residents are still being warned to use the weekend to prepare for its impact, expected to hit in the next few days.
Intimidating due to its size, but Cyclone Jasper is losing some of its might.
It is expected to weaken into a Category 3 system during Saturday evening.
And a Category 2 by Monday as it shifts slowly towards Queensland's coast. The latest modelling putting landfall just north of Cairns on Wednesday or Thursday.
It could re-intensify back into a severe tropical cyclone, which is Category 3 or higher, just before it crosses the coast.
Residents are getting ready, picking up sandbags and cans.
Just want to make sure that we can protect our family.
King tides are also forecast next week.
So if it coincides with the storm surge, that's when it's going to be a bit of a concern.
Supermarket shelves have been stripped bare. Water, tinned food and toilet paper in high demand.
Families at the moment need to be alert but not alarmed.
Cooktown is also in Jasper's path. Mayor Peter Scott staying calm after going through cyclones Ita and Nathan.
We got an awful lot of rain out of that, Laura, and flooding, but there wasn't a great deal of damage done around town.
North Queensland's coastline will start feeling Jasper's approach from tomorrow. First with winds picking up, then rain falling from Monday, but there'll be minimal impact in the southeast.
Now cruise ships are changing course. Quantum of the Seas rerouting from its Coral Sea itinerary to Sydney. Days after forming, Jasper is just getting started. Laura Dimmick, 7 News.
A truck driver has escaped a fiery crash when a fuel tanker exploded, erupting into flames in Florida. The truck was carrying more than 3,500 litres of diesel and 30,000 litres of petrol. The tanker was split open on impact, igniting the fuel and engulfing the vehicle, but fortunately the driver wasn't injured. And the Prince and Princess of Wales and their children have attended the taping of the Royal Christmas Carols concert held at Westminster Abbey. Upon arrival, George, Charlotte and Louis dropped their letters to Santa at a postbox out the front. Many of those in the audience were charity volunteers and frontline workers. The concert will be broadcast on Christmas Eve. An explosive investigation has exposed the secrets of extreme religious cults amongst us. That story's coming up after the break. Also, an Aussie man's ambitious mission to leap from Mount Everest. And later, how to make your Christmas special while still sticking to a tight budget. While many imagine extreme religious cults as being isolated to Middle America, it turns out they're closer than we might think. An explosive investigation has exposed the inner working of cults among us, with secrets unlocked for the first time.
He was Australia's most wanted man, Luke Hunter, a murderer who broke out of jail while threatening security guards with a knife in 1996.
Hunter, serving time for shooting a man in the back of the head, disappears into bushland.
He wasn't seen again until 2011, when the fugitive was discovered living under a new name and in a secret religious sect, the Anglican Catholic Mission Community, formerly known as the Jesus Group of North Queensland.
He worked as a groundsman at the hospital from 1997 until he was arrested by police. He helped disabled children, even played Santa at Christmas.
One thing we found that it's really, really difficult to work out exactly what goes on in these communities because they're so secretive.
The rise of extremist views during the pandemic put a spotlight on their possible threat.
It's happening in Australia right now.
Journalists from the Courier Mail have spent months taking a closer look at the cult, which holds communes and properties in Queensland, Sydney and regional New South Wales. Founded in the 70s by this man, Daniel Landy Ariel, who spoke to 7 News before his death in 2015.
He's a self-proclaimed prophet.
I'm not going to condemn somebody to hell just because they've lied about their past to protect themselves.
Former members tracked down, bravely speaking, but fearful of being identified.
Women don't have a voice to speak up.
It's almost impossible to police them, but for many people who are in cults, for their families, they are at a loss of what to do.
Each sharing personal stories of life inside.
If you leave, you're really cut off from the people who stay behind, and for some people that means their family.
You can watch the docuseries at preyedupon.com.au and read more in tomorrow's Adelaide Advertiser. Sally Geit, 7 News.
Grave fears are held for a worker still unaccounted for more than a day after an explosion at a factory in Melbourne's southeast. Firefighters worked into the night to put out the blaze, but what's left of the building is still too dangerous to enter. 4 people were taken to hospital, 2 of them firefighters. Well, they say it's about the journey, not the destination, and this one is a quest that never quite reached its end. While trying to be the first man to legally jump off the world's tallest mountain, Ken Hutt raised awareness for a very worthy cause.
At nearly 9 kilometres up, it's a long way to the top of Mount Everest, and this adventurous Aussie was keen to find a shortcut down.
I'm quietly optimistic, to be honest with you. That's me though, I am an optimistic person. But if it's going to be, it's going to be.
Ken Hutt had optimism and a big plan to paraglide from the roof of the world, becoming the first person to legally leap off Earth's highest mountain. This wasn't a mission of personal achievement, but one of public awareness. The 64-year-old Rotarian's aim to raise the profile of and money for the campaign to eradicate polio.
In about 5 nights' time, I hope to be standing on the summit holding a sign that says, "End polio now."
The expedition was the feature of Fly from Everest, a QUT documentary to follow the journey.
I feel honoured and privileged to tell the story, and I just hope that audiences agree that I've been able to do the story justice.
But the story didn't have the end the team planned. Just hours from the summit, Ken became sick, pneumonia ending the dream.
The most disappointing news you could get.
There was no flight, but there's still a film. The doco detailing the incredible effort to get so close and fight to end the disease. A fight that goes on even without jumping off Mount Everest.
We're on the next project for polio eradication. We've moved on from that. But personally, maybe one day I'll go back.
Joel Dry, 7 News.
Getting into the festive spirit on a budget. Coming up, how to do a cheap and cheerful Christmas without breaking the bank, and the retailers helping to bring those costs down for consumers. Don't miss that story a little later in 7 News. Pope Francis says he's feeling much better after a health scare which saw the Catholic Church leader withdraw from the United Nations annual climate conference. While the Pope was able to attend his weekly general audience, it was clear he was still recovering from his flu-like symptoms as he struggled to speak. Time for sport now with Abba. couple of local stars looking forward to the summer cricket, aren't they?
What about Travis Head and Alex Carey so far? The Ashes in the World Cup, unbelievable. Now they're on the plane to Perth because the summer of cricket gets started on Thursday if it ever stops raining here in Adelaide. Anyway, coming up after the break, Steve Smith also in fine form in the Big Bash ahead of Thursday's first test. Ebony Marinoff makes it a pair to join some big names as the coach gets a boost too. And Nick Kyrgios just keeps finding ways of surprising us. The latest through OnlyFans. Welcome back. South Aussie Test star Alex Carey expects opener Dave Warner to prove his critics wrong as he chases a fairy tale finish to his Test career. Carey joined World Cup hero Travis Head with the duo flying to Perth ahead of Thursday's first Test against Pakistan.
After a disappointing World Cup campaign that saw Alex Carey lose his spot in the Aussie side, the 32-year-old was like a kid on Christmas morning, knowing his spot in the Test side was never in doubt.
I was able to play a Shield game last week, so that was nice to get back out in the middle. But yeah, really excited to get over to Perth and start the Test series against Pakistan. I always speak to the guys, and you know, that first Test the last couple of years has been so exciting. So yeah, can't wait to get over there.
It's been an incredible year for Travis Head. The World Cup hero is on track to receive a giant payday in the IPL, and he's confident he can transfer his white ball form into the Test arena.
Yeah, always ride with confidence, have done for a period of time now, but that's never guaranteed on runs, so look forward to the next few days and preparing well.
So far, Dave Warner has dominated headlines thanks to former teammate Mitchell Johnson, who doesn't believe he deserves a fairy tale finish in Sydney. But it's this sort of criticism that Carey believes could bring the best out of the Test legend.
If people want to write him off, then he'll come out to score a 200, and yeah, he's a fighter, one of our greatest ever players. Yeah, I back him in every day of the week to go out and perform.
Eventually, he'll need to be replaced at the top. Matt Renshaw auditioned beautifully in the washed-out PM's 11 clash with Pakistan. Renshaw was unbeaten on 136, but the Queenslander knows it'll take much more than one good performance.
I think that's what makes it a bit more frustrating about it all. People are always talking about like this being the audition for it.
Pakistan took just 4 wickets in their only practice match before the first Test. Andrew Hayes, 7 News.
Steve Smith heads into Thursday's first Test, buoyed by a winning Big Bash cameo. Smith made 61 from 42 balls, leading the Sydney Sixers to 6 for 175 in their season opener at the SCG last night. Melbourne Renegades young gunner Jake Fraser-McGurk launched 1-6 over the old members stand, but the Sixers held on for an 8-run victory, aided by the best fielder in the business.
That is an amazing piece of fielding from guess who? Jordan Silk.
The Strikers host the Heat in the BBL tonight. It's live right after the news. Alyssa Healy has been officially named the new Australian women's captain across all 3 formats. The 33-year-old will step into the role after Meg Lanning's shock international retirement last month. South Aussie Talia McGrath will serve as vice-captain, fresh off leading the Strikers to back-to-back WBBL titles. Last night, Crows midfielder Ebony Marinoff took home her second gold jacket, winning Adelaide's Club Champion of the Year. The 26-year-old joined Anne Hatchard and Erin Phillips as multiple winners of the award.
Obviously really special. I pride myself on consistency, and I think this is a reward for that.
As part of the night, the club announced 2-year contract extensions for coach Matthew Clark and skipper Chelsea Randall. Nick Kyrgios' playing future is in serious doubt after withdrawing from a second straight Australian Open. A persistent wrist injury will keep the Aussie sidelined indefinitely. Kyrgios has played just once since pulling out of his home Grand Slam at the start of the year.
Obviously heartbreaking. I've had so many amazing memories there, and I just want to really get back to playing at the top of my game and doing it right, and I need a little bit more time.
Kyrgios announced the news on his new OnlyFans page. The NBA Commissioner says Josh Giddey won't be suspended while police investigate his alleged inappropriate relationship with a minor. Oklahoma fans are still giving the 21-year-old Aussie a mixed reception.
Head guard, 6'8" from Australia, number 3, Josh Giddey.
Meanwhile, Giddey's quiet season continued with only 9 points, but the Thunder did beat Golden State Warriors 138-136 in overtime. Aussie Formula One driver Oscar Piastri has capped a breakout season with the Rookie of the Year award. Max Verstappen was officially crowned the 2023 Drivers' Champion after winning 19 of 22 races. Aussie snowboarding megastar Scotty James started the new World Cup season with gold in China in the half-pipe, where he won silver in last year's Winter Olympics with a score of 91.25.
It was a bit of a testament for me because that was what I crashed on my last event. I wanted to come out and land it today and put that run together. It felt really nice.
In Sweden, Olympic champion Jakara Anthony now has a back-to-back gold to start the Moguls World Cup. And for tonight, Elle, given the weather outside, I reckon that's appropriate we finish on snowboarding, because I reckon the top of Mount Lofty won't be far away.
Be very soggy up there tonight. Thanks, Sabba. Well, it may be the most wonderful time of the year, but it's also the most expensive. From gifts and decorations to food, Christmas comes at a cost. But some retailers are helping us get into the festive spirit on a budget.
'Tis almost the season and Christmas shoppers need to be savvy to avoid the cost of living squeeze.
I tend to try and get in early so I can plan ahead.
Major retailers are decked out. At Big W, there's a taste for trinkets like Lamington and Vegemite ornaments under $15.
That you can pop on the tree just to make Christmas feel a little bit more Australian.
For under $100, here's how you can fill up at the cheapest retailer, Kmart. Baubles and bonbons for just $10 a box.
They're great quality, they're great value, and of course they're at exceptionally low prices.
Budget-friendly buys at Target, stockings for $15, small Santas for $6. While at Bunnings, your trolley will be lighter. It's about quality over quantity. Christmas in the yard.
You just know that you can trust the quality, and yeah, they're going to be good for this year and for many more years to come.
Lay-by is a potential way to pay, and don't forget about the benefits from membership rewards.
It's been a difficult year for all families right across Australia, and we're really conscious of that.
Other ways to save include making your own decorations, using items from the arts and crafts aisle, or considering something a little more non-traditional. Like this artificial snow for $3, a twig stem for $7. Proving a decorative dollar can go a long way. Angelique Opie, 7 News.
Good tips there. We've had an absolute soaking today. Stay with us for Gertie's weather forecast coming up after the break.
The rain has eased, but don't forget your wet weather gear if you are heading to the Carols tonight. I'll have your 7-day forecast live from Elder Park.
7 News doesn't just bring you the news. This is where news breaks.
Still in his capsule when he was found.
Taking you live.
The city brought to a standstill. It's a desperate outback dash.
Exclusive pictures. We strive to ensure you know the complete story.
Know the news with 7 News.
Time for the weather now. And Gertie, rain records are set to tumble across the state as we prepare for another soggy day.
Hindmarsh Island ended up being the wettest place in the state today, recording a whopping 39 millimetres of rain since 9 a.m. Now, combined with some showers overnight, the city had 32 millimetres in total. That is more than a month's worth of rain. Right now, it is 15 degrees in the city. We hit a top of 17 today. And some other noteworthy falls across the state. Minnipa recorded 29 millimetres, Kadina 33, Mount Lofty 31, Strathalbyn 38. Across the state, cloudy and rainy for most, dry and very hot in the far northeast though. Moomba hit 44, Maree 43. An upper level trough is responsible for the rain band pushing across our state. A low pressure system will develop south of the Bight tomorrow before heading east midweek. Interstate 31 for Perth, 26 for Sydney, 30 for Brisbane. Back home, showers over most of the state again, increasing to rain, heavy at times over the Eyre Peninsula. Thunderstorms are a chance in the afternoon. Looking very hot in the far northeast at first, 34 for Maree, 19 for Coober Pedy, 16 for Roxby. Cool further south too, 16 for Port Lincoln, 18 for Port Augusta, 17 for Clare, partly cloudy and 29 for Renmark, 16 for Nuruyutpa, Victor and Edithburg, 15 for Kingscote, 18 for Mount Gambier. A severe weather warning for heavy rains in place for parts of the Eyre Peninsula, West Coast and Northwest Pastoral Districts. A flood watch is active for the Mount Lofty Ranges, Mid-North and EP. Gale and strong wind warnings are also in place for many coastlines, and there's a warning to sheep graziers. In the city, down to 12 degrees, 17's the forecast top with up to 20 millimetres of rain possible. On Metro Waters, southeasterly winds reaching 30 knots. Warming up on Monday, 30's the top with a shower or two, 27 on Tuesday, 28 Wednesday, 23 Thursday with a shower or two a chance. Drying out Friday, 22's the top, partly cloudy and 21 on Saturday. Showers have cleared in the city for the moment. Fingers crossed they do hold off for the rest of the carols. Back to you.
Fingers crossed indeed. Thank you, Gertie. Well, now for a quick look at what's on Weekend Sunrise tomorrow.
Tomorrow on Weekend Sunrise, Christmas on a budget, decorations, food and presents. The guide to entertaining on the big day for less than $500. Plus, the new family cars coming in 2024. Why there's now more choice than ever before. And is electric actually better? From 7 a.m.
And that's all the news to now. Thanks for your company. I'll have updates throughout the evening. For now, though, from all of the Adelaide 7 News team, it's good night.